Hello, everyone. This is your professor, Dr. Yang, for your EDUC802 Teaching in Higher Education course. We met last week and we went over Unit 5 to Unit 8. What will be covered in those 4 weeks. And in the past week, in the week 5, you should have produced an instructional media. So I'm very excited to review the media you produced. Now, today is the starting for the Unit 6, which is about curriculum and instructional strategies. Let's take a look at what's required in this unit. So first, let's go to our class. Okay. Unit 6, Curriculum Design and Instructional Strategies. Before you start work on your assignments, you always need to look at what's in the prep, what articles or readings will prepare you for this week's material. So the learning outcomes for this week is to describe curriculum design methods and want to identify proper instructional strategies for your unit of instruction, and you need to create a learning or instruction design or training event. As I mentioned in our last class, although this week's your project is assignment development, but you can definitely design an activity for your training. If you'll be conducting training, you can do an activity. You can develop an activity that you may be used in your training. Now, those are some required resources, so I highly recommend you read. So read your chapter 8 and 9 in the textbook, and there's some refresher or additional reading and talk about syllabus design, which you did the syllabus, and the assignment design, how you design assignments. Now, curriculum design definition purpose types, and this is an article as well as a guide to curriculum development. What are the purposes, practices, and what are the procedures? Those two are the articles. Curriculum and instructional design. This, however, is a book. This is a book that in our library is an ebook. So you don't have to read everything. Advanced teaching methods for the technology classroom. You can just look at the chapter 1 curriculum and planning for instruction. Okay. I mean, of course, since this is a free ebook for you, you can read it anytime, And some chapters in this book, you can really use it not only for this module, for this unit, but also for the other ones. Like, for example, curriculum and instruction design. This is definitely good. The chapter 10. That's a definitely chapter for this unit, but like justifying technology studies, learning theory, technology practice. This relates you back to your unit 2, where you did a learning theories. Analyzing and designing technology-based curriculum. This may be something you're interested if you want to learn more about technology-based curriculum. And assessment evaluation is a good chapter for next unit. So that's why I have this book here that you can not only use for this unit, but also for the other units for this class. So I will highly recommend you read assessment evaluation for next week. Implementing and evaluating curriculum instruction. This is a good chapter for next week as well. Okay, this is a good section for next week. And there's 3 articles I provided here, 32 research-based instructional strategies. So this article is a very quick read article and give you an overview of the 32 instructional strategies. So take a look and review those instructional strategies. Now, the other 2 articles, 100 instructional strategies, as well as Alberta Learning Instructional Strategies, those two links are broken. So I am going to post the updated links for those two articles that you can refer to in my announcement. So make sure you check announcement. All right. So for this week, you have two assignments due. And the first one is a doctoral dialogue, the Chronicle. So for higher education, if you work in higher education, the Chronicle of Higher Education, yes, it's not research-based article. It's not journal. It's more of a newspaper. If more of the most known and widely accepted news paper for higher education. So if you just go to Chronicle Higher Education, it may require you for membership. However, you can always go to the library.franklin.edu, because we subscribe Chronicle for Higher Education as well, right? So so that's an option for you if you are required to put the membership for the Chronicle. And also, in your local library, most of the times you'll find Chronicle of Higher Education newspaper in your local libraries as well. So you can also go to the library. What you need to look for? Yes, look for the last 2 months. Look for the last 2 months issues that published. Chronicle Higher Education is a daily newspaper. So looking for the last 2 months to find an article that is of interest to you. Okay. So the article must be at least 800 words in length, which means you need to have at least a fairly long article, not like a couple paragraphs. You might not have enough content for you to develop that doctor dialogue. So in your initial post, you need to write a summary of this article. So summarize what the contents of this article, what issues this article talk about. And then you react to what opinions are stated in this article. So you write your reaction to this article. Okay. So what do you think? Now your reaction to the article, you also want to support your opinions in your for your reaction with additional resources. Okay. So that's how you will cite. We need to cite the article in the APA and use at least one other article to support your opinion, your reaction, or in your opinions. So that's also need to be in APA. So post your initial post by Thursday of this week, and responding to of your classmates' posts for your responding post by Sunday. So so this assignment is for you to become familiar with the current events affecting the higher education landscape. So what are the issues in higher education? What are some policy changes? What are the trends that are happening in higher ed? So kind of get yourself familiar with what are infecting higher ed. Okay, now this week's assignment is to develop develop assignment for your project part 2. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, you can do a collegiate level assignment as part of the course project, or you can do an activity as a part of your training. So last week you developed, or you produced a piece of instructional media to measure one or more of the learning outcomes that you determined. Now let's continue work on fully developed assignment that incorporated the outcomes, incorporated the instructional media. So as I said, the instructional media needs to have a purpose of educating or explaining that topics that are difficult for your learners to understand. So what should be included in your assignment or activity that you developed? So there's a template, load the template to use that. But within the template included all of those sections. What's the title of your assignment? Like for example, the assignment for this title is Project Part 5, Assignment Development. Or what's your title of your activity? So what outcome is this assignment measured? Well, what outcomes are being measured in this assignment you are developed? For instance, if you look at this assignment, the purpose of the assignment is to help you learn to develop a collegiate level assignment that's a part of the course project while identifying the instructional strategies that will be implemented. Okay, so the outcome this assignment will measure is develop a collegiate level assignment. Now, if we go back to your Unit 6 prep, okay, so in your Unit 6, you have three learning outcomes. Describe curriculum design models, identify proper learning strategies for unit of instruction, create a learning instruction design or training event. So the create a learning instruction design or training event, as well as identify proper instruction strategies for unit of instruction. Those two are the outcomes that are being measured in this assignment. Because in this assignment, you need in your project part 5, you will need to create an assignment. This assignment is a learning or training event. And in this assignment, you also need to identify instructional strategies that you're being used. So this is to identify proper instructional strategies for unit of instruction. So those two are the outcomes that this assignment is measuring. Okay, now what need to be included? Continue after the outcomes, the overview. For example, overview, you have developed a course syllabus and piece of instruction media for chosen topic in your course. So this is your overview. So you will need to write an overview for your activity or assignment. What are the action items? Which means what are the step-by-step instructions for your learners? If you look at this as your assignment that are right in front of you, what are the action items? Okay, so if you are not sure, or if you wonder how you write action items, look at this assignment. So what's the first step? Read and address the feedback. Okay, and then continue using document, continue using the template, and you need to address those items, those lists. Okay, so those are action items. You also need to include submission instructions. How do you learners submit this assignment? Okay, right. So the submission instruction is what? By the submit your work at the Canvas. So that's the submission instructions. Some of you would require your learners to submit assignment in their learning management system. Some of them will want to email if your activity for training, you may want to email the trainer, or the submission instructions maybe they will sit in the training room and discuss or share the findings and stuff. So it really depends on your activity. Now, as I mentioned earlier, as I mentioned in our online class meeting, the item A and item E, these are part of the assignment that you'll be developing. From item A to item E, that's where you need to write from learner's perspective. write for learners, what you can tell them what they need to do. Now the item F, this is the part that you need to write for me. Okay, this is a part that you will write about what two. Remember, you need to read two different types of instructional strategies that are represented in your action items. Okay, and then you will explain what instructional strategy, what two instructional strategy used. Okay, and how you use them to engage your learner. And you also need to answer those two questions. How do those particular instructional strategies support your design? What are your rationales and considerations for choosing those instructional design strategies? Again, those two links are open. I will post them in my announcement along with the video, this video. So make sure you check the announcement, and you can choose any of the two instructional strategies in those three articles. So there are tons and tons of instructional strategies you can choose. So this is practice for you to identify what proper instructional strategy should be used for this assignment. Okay, all right. That's for Unit 6, and I'll look forward to seeing your work this week. Bye.